Yeah. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to something very special produced by Titan Esports here. I am Crims, and this is my co-host Sater, and we are bringing to you a new debut of our show, A Talk on Titans, here to give you some nice insight and coverage to the NACL OQ. And Sater, how was your first viewing experience?
It was actually really, really impressive. I was very, very happy with the quality of the teams coming in. I didn't expect that. Obviously, if you do watch Titan and you know myself, I'm not from NA. I don't watch a lot of stuff. I joined Titan a long time ago, and I've slowly kind of found myself in the NA circuit, and someone gave me the opportunity to jump in, and I went, of course, I'll jump in, see what's here. And I was really, really surprised at the overall quality of the teams and how well structured they seem. And whenever I hear of NA, I always hear of the madness that goes on in the lower scene, but this seems to be the perfect place for that talent to grow. So I'm very, very excited to continue watching it and getting involved.
Yeah, they've done a great job growing this scene here in the amateur leagues. A lot of returning teams, and there's a lot of players. Pretty much people get well known in the scene, and a lot of those teams who've had a long stay here like Lotus, and you cast it for Gentle Hearts Gaming. A great opportunity for you there. But they've also been around in the scene for quite a long time, and you see a lot of rosters who've played together, a lot of duos who've played together a long time, and that's where you're seeing this synergy come from. There's a lot of new teams there at the OQ, and those are the teams that are shake it up, and they get put together in less than a month, and then they're just out there on NACLQ trying their best.
Yeah, there's some really, really amazing teams. I was looking through the kind of results as well from some of these teams. They always seem to be ranking high the longer they stay in it. You start to see that synergy build over a while. There's also teams that I've seen previously that jump in and out of other NA leagues, and you can see players' names prop up from time and time again. And it's just overall, it's actually amazing to see that you do have something growing like this in NA, and there's some amazing players. And obviously, the one that everyone's going to see immediately and go, wow, is Dardoch on Lotus,
Yeah.
because I think everyone knows Dardoch, for better or for worse, they know Dardoch. But yeah, there's some really, really amazing teams in there. Even CCG, I do a lot of their Counter-Strike coverage. So to have seen them in there, I was like, that was a little bit surprising. But no, I especially with Gentle Heart sticking true for so much of it. Lotus have been in it quite a lot. And CCG were in a previously contingent, recently got covered by Titan as well. I believe you were on the broadcast for them. So yeah, there's a lot of coverage going on for all these games, and I'm just really, really excited to get my first real look into the Challengers League.
Yeah, I really like how they've opened up the scene to be viewed. There are so many more Twitch streamers now, and we're starting to get productions like Titan to produce these games, and it just looks so good. I love the breath of fresh air brought into the scene. And before we go any further, just in case you've lived under a rock, I want to just bring up the standings real quick in the overall groups, because we are talking about the NACLQ after the Swiss stage here. And so we still have our teams that have qualified through. And unfortunately, some have been knocked out. And is there any team that like kind of surprised you not making it through?
To be honest, when they weren't making it through, I was looking through all of the games, and there was a couple of teams there that I thought were really, really strong, and they just managed to scrape through. And then there were some teams that seemed like, oh yeah, they'll definitely be one of those teams to make it through, and they just kind of faltered in a kind of a strange way. They kind of missed out on games that looked a little bit easier for them, and there were some games, especially that I saw, where teams just fell apart in the mid game. As I watched a couple of replays of a couple of different ones, and then there's some teams that get stomped in the first part of the Swiss stage against maybe a mid-pack team, and then they go on an amazing run. So there's a lot going on in terms of which teams didn't make it through, and there's one or two that kind of surprised me, but I think everything's going to surprise me when I'm so new.
Yeah. Team Krusty Crew didn't make it through. And that is a bit unfortunate, as now I think, we're going to respect time. They have a scrim to go to. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our special guest segment. And I'm introducing from Zen Esports, the Slam Boy. The Slam Boy, how you doing? Welcome to the Talk on Titans.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I'm the Slam Boy, and I'm really excited to talk with y'all tonight. I'm doing pretty fine.
All right,
That's very
Slam
good
Boy.
stuff. I
Yeah,
got a
so
very quick question before Krim says anything. So he's going to go straight into your team. Where
yeah,
did you
I
get that
was.
image from? Is it AI generated, or did you make it?
Okay.
Well, funny enough, it's AI generated, but it's a long time ago before it was even a trend. It was like
Okay.
probably 4 years ago. So
Or
We
yeah,
were
okay,
interested.
quality.
We
It's
yep,
did
really good
see,
quality for 4 years ago. No,
yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah, it
saw
is.
it. We were like surprised. We're like, is this hand drawn almost? And then we saw little things here and there. It looks good though. New technology
Yeah,
coming
it
out.
was for my first debut streaming. I had to like create a profile picture, and I didn't want to kind of put some funds into it. And I saw the first like AI generating images, and I took it from there.
All right. So Slam Boy, we're gonna start with
yep.
the good. I'm gonna glaze you up first, and then I'm just gonna knock you down at the end. As I want to talk about your NACLOQ experience here. You're one of the newer players, kind of just bursting onto the scene right now. And in your first, not your first game, but in mid Swiss bracket, you're in a high stakes game. You're playing versus Gentle Hearts Gaming, PCL up in the top lane. And who gets the first blood solo bolo, but you Slam Boy. So let's just bring you to that exact moment. How did you feel right there in that moment? And then you could talk about the rest of the game.
Well, in that moment in the game, we were pretty on our tippy toes because I believe we were 1-2, and so if we lose, then it's over for us for the NACL. So I knew I had to give it all, and I tried my best to do so. Um, Unfortunately, we didn't end up winning it, but I think I played my lane fine, even though it could have like been even better on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was the one actually casting that game. So I got to see a little bit more of it firsthand. And the first time I saw the Cassante locked in so early, I've always been excited to see a good Cassante player. I hate the champion. I'm going to be honest, it is absolutely broken as an ADC and support player. But when I saw that locked in immediately, it immediately told me that you were a confident kind of player going into this one. Is that something you do often when you're going into drafts as part of a team? Do you go in and say, look, I know what I need to play this game. I know I can hold my lane, win my lane, and play weak side? Cassante, is that something that you can gravitate towards at any point? Or is it more of like a group discussion when it comes to these things?
We're pretty like straightforward for our picks. So if someone thinks they have the best pick for their lanes, we'll then have the full um saying on it. So when I saw we were we were always red side, and it was between Aatrox and Cassante, and then I saw them pick Aatrox, and so it was immediate Cassante response. I didn't go for the winning lane because I saw they have a Blitzcrank, so we need like a tank that can like tank the hook, and Cassante is perfect at it because you don't get removed. You're like unmovable, and yeah, so that was the pick there.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And one last question before Crims goes into all of his other bits because he's going to take a little bit of time on his ones. When
Yeah.
you saw the Rek'Sai start to take over a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
what was the communication like? Was there any like with demoralization, I guess is the best way to put it? Did you start to feel down in the game, or was that hope still there that you could bring it back?
I mean, there's hopes because it's a Rek'Sai and I'm Xante, so it's not really threatening personally for me. But if it was, for example, like a Kindred getting fed, then it's more like hardcore to come back, in my opinion. Unfortunately, Rek'Sai really got out of control, and even as like a tank, I was getting killed pretty quickly, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And how did
Yeah.
that affect the morale for the team?
I would say we have a good morale, but from games to games in NACL, we start losing morale because our first game was against Seed 1 Dragoons team. The
Mhm.
game was really tight. Unfortunately, we lost, and like from games to games, morale was going down. And I mean, it's part of the game. When you keep losing, your hopes get down, and then it's harder to come back mentally.
Yeah. You did have a bit of a bounce back. You did end up finishing 2-3,
Yep.
which is pretty good overall. If I mean, it's you get some points. It's not the most points in the world, of course, but it lets you get that better shot at the next OQ. And so, you know, as the knockdown comes, yeah, you guys didn't make it through. So if you audience isn't aware, but I think 2-3 is for a first showing Slam Boy pretty good. So considering your results, I know you didn't make it, but let's be honest, first run through.
Yep.
How do you think the overall NACLQ experience was? How do you think you did overall? Any insight you want to share? Because there's a lot of other players here who are looking at this position and say, I want to be in the NACLQ as well.
I will say to everyone that never did like some heavy comps, it's scarier than you think it is. I was scared to face seed 1 top laner and then seed 6 and like all the high seed top laners, but in the end, if you stay calm and focused and you stick to your game plan, it's not as scary as you think. People will make mistake, and as long as you reduce the mistakes you're making, then the lane will go pretty smoothly. There's no like hard. Luckily, I didn't face like hard lane bullies, so my lane was pretty smooth all along.
Okay. So, in terms of this NACLQ, right? So, bringing this to the rest of the OQ,
Yep.
you've played some of these top teams. All right. So, what is your experience like? what is your experience playing against a top team? What do you think they do differently? And also like, bring up who those teams are and who those players are that you think are, game changers or they're just going to be so difficult to stop.
Well, our best game was against Seed One, so that's kind of contradictory because we were supposed to get stomped, and we still put up a great fight, and the game was pretty close. Unfortunately, I think the game changer will be macro because mechanically we're on pair, but we were just getting out rotated all over the map, and we didn't have like game plans. They were like switching their bot lanes with their mid lane for grubs, and we were not prepared for it. And like little bit by little bit, we were losing turrets, and there was no coming back from that.
Yeah, I do think that the top teams macro, and there's a lot of tiers of macro
Yeah.
difference for the league here. Um, so you played against these top teams. Any player that you thought was just, I mean, you could name a player on your team. You can name yourself if you really want to, if you have that ego. But is there a player that you played against where you're like, whoa, I didn't think they'd be this good. I didn't think they'd be this crazy.
Um, Someone that stand out was against PCL.
Mm,
I think he was the best top laner I faced on all the games. Maybe it's because I played bad. Maybe it's because it was on his best game. I don't know, but that for sure was a good performance on his behalf. I mean, I have to shout out my mid laner because he stayed pretty solid all around the games, as well as my bot lane and jungle that kept their head high up even though we're losing games. So
all right. So shout out to PCL, who you solo killed. So I guess you're kind of, in the end, you're kind of praising yourself a little bit there.
okay.
Um, let's and your mid laner 5 mini. So let's talk about the meta. Slime Boy, you've
Yeah.
been scrimming quite a little bit. We got the meta going. And Sater, feel free to join in this one, of course, anytime here. Um, is there anything that you think could shake up the meta right now? Because it's looking really solidly. Everyone just plays Tristana, Corki, and then Talia in the mid lane, top lane Skarner, a lot of Cassante, a lot of Aatrox.
Yeah.
We could stay in top lane if you don't want to talk about the other lanes, but like this meta looks pretty solid, Slime Boy.
I would say please, Riot Games remove lane swapping. I don't know why it's in game. I don't know how they can nerf it, but they have to find a way to at least like limitate the lane swapping because it's at the point where the games are played on a gamble. If you think they will lane swap and counter lane swap, then you win. If you don't, well, you're not playing top lane.
Okay.
On the other end, I think they have to maybe buff some tanks top like Ornn and Cyan and reduce the range top that are completely turbo broken, as well as nerfing Skarner because this champ has been best champion in 4 different roles for kind of a long time by now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
So
100% agree with the Skarner there. That's something I'll definitely stand with. But one of the things I do want to kind of talk about is the way that the current meta is going in the terms of bruisers building lethality and lethality items being so strong with the likes of Aatrox and such, and the way that you seem to want to play with that Cassante being so comfortable. If the meta was to shift back towards the more kind of old school top laners like Fiora and Darius and the gods kind of style of Olaf and stuff, would that suit you more if you wanted to play as a team, or does your team prefer you being on those engaged tanks like the Scion, the Cassante, and being a menace on those flanks?
I think I shine on flank champions, so as long as the meta is like evolving around Aatrox and these bruisers I can flank, I will do pretty good. As for a tank, I will say I'm pretty solid, but I need some practice on like Fiora matchups and like Aurelia if it ever becomes meta, because these champions need some like quantity of games to become relevant on them. So that will be a time to put if they ever become meta again.
I remember you had quite an Udyr in the RTR
Oh,
Combine. That Udyr did go crazy, and we did give you an MVP there. Just real quick, one last question before we let you go. is you did the RTR combine and then you ended up being on NACOQ. So do you think that helped you? Did it give you a spot to shine that let you get on a team? Did it help you out there? And also, I kind of brought you on because we talked during the RTR combine, so at least it got you this interview.
Huh. Well, RTR Combine was like one of the best experience ever for as well as learning and as meeting people. So that's from there that I built up this team for the NACL by building up connection with people I played with. And if there's like a future RTR Combine, I invite everyone to participate in it because it's like an extreme amount of experience gaining in only a week of playing. It's like really worth it, and I don't see no downsides. So I really push everyone to participate in the next one.
All right. If anything, it's like a super server there.
Yeah,
As Sunboy, thank you for coming on. I know you have a scrim to get to, and we appreciate you coming here to talk on Titans. And hopefully, you guys will get through on your next OQ appearance.
thanks for having me, Crims and Sater, and have a great rest of the show.
All right. Thank you. All right, quick transition there. And Slamboy, there on the stream, said, you were talking to him pretty good? You said that they had a pretty good performance in that Gentle Hearts Gaming.
Oh, they smashed it,
Uh,
Crims. Crims, like
yeah.
I can't lie, like that was the only lane that worried me in that game. Like I know that when you're casting for a team, you have to remain unbiased, but every single time something happens, you're like, go on, get him, just get that kill. Like, but we were winning that game, and Rek'Sai went 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 7-1. I mean, like everything is happening, and it was just Slamboy. That's all it was. It was just that one pick, and he was just winning the side lane. He was winning the 1v1 pressure. He was dragging people, and that was what stood out to me more. Like the rest of the team, there was moments of like, this is why they've picked this player. They're really good at holding this pressure, etc. But the Cassante was just the one trump card they had, and if there was ever an opportunity for him to win a fight, it was the Cassante. So I had a lot of praise for him. And when I was casting the game, you'll probably see that when I was talking about it because you can see me nearly biting my teeth saying the Cassante nearly had it. But yeah, like there's some amazing players I've seen through all the games I watched over the weekend with Gentle Hearts Gaming, and definitely one of the ones that stood out to me. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the future because we don't know how well they're going to go or how high they'll climb. It's not the first time I've casted someone that's ended up on the main stage, you know?
There we go. Okay, so now we've already passed to the Swiss stage. It's now time to bring us over to that group stage, and we are gonna get. I couldn't get them as guests because they were both busy. Everyone was busy, but I got the best that I could. I got their predictions, so I was able to catch up with my buddies Gordo, Slayer, and Quacks. And here is their predictions for this week here. And anything that stands out to you, Sater, go for it and shout it out. It looks like we're getting a lot of uniformity in BlackRock Esports as well as the Goons. But everything else, I mean, look at this. We have some interesting toss ups here.
Toss ups, I've never seen every single person get a prediction wrong. Like putting NBG over Gentle Hearts, absolute disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Like they didn't even watch a Gentle Hearts game. You can just tell immediately. But look, down the middle, Slayer 2-1s all across the board. That's the sign of someone that's not too comfortable in their predictions right now. They want to wait a week or two. So I'm going to let Slayer off the mark for this one, okay?
Oh,
Gordo,
wait. This is my fault. Slayer did say 2-0 Goons. I did not fix it. That's my fault.
okay,
Um,
so he is a little bit more comfortable then in his drafting. So that is completely Crim's fault. So we're going to remove Crim's in the future. We'll
okay.
be trying to bring Slayer in
I
and
get one
replace Crim.
wrong, but it's my fault. Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Look, I think they're all fair. Having seen some of these actually play, though, Pepe Po was a very, very strong team. It was one of the teams that really put the pressure on and can turn a game at any moment. So I believe they have a better chance of maybe taking a game. On the other side, Gentle Hearts Gaming, they are an underdog for sure, but they are very, very strong. I would not put them any lower. BlackRock Esports, I would definitely put above, and Pulse are very, very strong. So I think most of them are on the mark. As is Pepe Po and Gentle Hearts. Don't count them out just yet.
Yeah, I think the most interesting matchup, and I mean, unfortunately, everyone just predicts the same thing here. But I think the most interesting matchup is actually that bottom matchup, Nightblood Gaming versus Gentle Hearts Gaming, is I think so close. And for everyone to just be uniform in NBG's favor here, a bit surprising to me. As I mean, that there's no way that this doesn't go like the full distance.
No, not at all. You have to remember that Nightblood Gaming, they had a little bit of difficulty in a game against, I believe it was Castleberry.
Yeah,
I believe they lost that one. So that's one of the ones we kind of have to watch out for, is that like Castleberry are one of the top teams, but they play a very predictable style, I think. That they play a style that you could definitely utilize a better comp around
yeah.
and
They
really catch
they
them out.
lost to the Goons, which is to be expected. And then
Mhm.
the Apex Mission Impossible was the final game that they lost. Um, I think everyone would have said, that they have a pretty good shot of winning that one, but yeah, they did fall in the end to AMI.
Yeah, so there's a lot that needs to be taken into account, and one of the big things about this that we didn't talk about too much, I think you're talking about something to do with drafts.
Yeah, I I don't really like the way some of these teams are drafting in the bot lane. I'm going to say specifically for me, um, I think that as we like going into our matchups for this weekend, right? So I think highlighting Castleberry here as well as Duckies and Gentle Arts Gaming and NBG are, these are the Titan marquee matchups. We're going to be covering them today. So focusing on those two teams here. And I don't really like the way NBG's been drafting their bot lane. I've been watching their games. They're putting Lunar on Varus a lot of the time, and I just don't think this team's a bot lane team. I don't think they should be putting Varus down in the bot lane.
I think Faris is in a fine spot in the bot lane. That's an
I
ADC
just don't think
person
it's them as
still.
a team, though. I feel like they're like a Zeri Jinx kind of team.
Yeah, they do kind of favor that hyper carry style and not that sit back and poke style. And with Varus moving towards that lethality, of course, it's a much bigger change for Lunar. But I don't think it's terrible in certain situations. I just think that the way Gentle Hearts Gaming play, and this is obviously an insight from casting them, they play weak side bot. They don't get a lot of ganks down there. Cross doesn't really focus there too much. And in the odd cases that they do, we do see the bot lane just completely take over. But the way they play with Xiao Danny in the mid lane, he plays an absolutely disgusting Tristana, literally solo carries games.
Yeah.
His Talia is always in the right place and just shutting down areas exceptionally well. And PCL, you could listen to the praise that we previously got from our special guest, that PCL was one of the best he played against. So when you're playing around your bot side so heavily as Nightblood into Gentle Hearts Gaming, does Gentle Hearts not have a slight advantage then, considering their focus is somewhere else anyway?
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, from what I've seen in Nightblood Gaming, they really weak side Shocky on the top lane quite a bit. And Shocky's been doing a great job absorbing that pressure. And on the Aatrox did a pretty bang up job there for the rest of the team to find an advantage. Meanwhile, on the other side, they do play. I think for John Hunt's game, they do play a little bit more towards PCL. Has a little bit more of a carry style, and I think that Cross is going to be to me the big player here. That's going to be the difference maker. I think Cross is probably, in my opinion, it's between Cross and Joe Denny being the best players on GHG here, and they have such a great carry potential, and that makes me a bit worried for the more weak side for NBG here in Shocky because I mean Cross has been taking over some games.
Yeah, that Rek'Sai is just going to be in my mind forever. I think I actually went onto my jungle account and started playing Rek'Sai straight after broadcast. I was like, all right, I'm going to play one game of Rek'Sai. That was just too clean. I need to do it myself. Yeah, Cross. There was one or two where it did feel like Cross was a little under pressure in the games and making some not not bad decisions, but like maybe 40% high
Yeah.
risk, high reward kind of plays.
Yeah, let's
So
bring
they
up
they
the stats
can.
for GHG here while you're going over that.
Yeah,
As
so you can see it here. Cross obviously going through with that Rek'Sai game is going to heavily influence his KDA right now. PCL, sticking with the Zach Aatrox Rumble. Zhao Dani won to watch. His shockwave in, I think it was game 2, caught 4 people and completely eviscerated them with the aid of the red carpet from PCL, I believe. And then Devin completely smashed on the Varus game, did really well on the Jinx game. I think Pentakills were nearly there. And Clyde is one I want to be as kind as possible with. I really like the way Clyde plays, but sometimes it's too aggressive, too far
Oh
forward,
yeah. Yeah,
and
I
gets
think
caught in weird
The Nico game
Mm.
shouts that out, right? How many times did Clyde get a good engage, but the team lost the fight after? Um, in isolation, those are great CCs, and with Nico does play aggressively, but I mean, if you're starting a fight that the team loses, obviously, there has to be some kind of criticism there.
Yeah, of course there has to be. And then I remember very, very clearly in the Nautilus game just staying very, very far forward and getting caught in weird places. And his team managed to clean up some of the fights in the later games, of course, but it was still a case of you didn't need to be there.
Hmm.
And it kind of gave up small advantages, and I think it led to a big loss in game 2. So
Yeah.
there is still little things that need to be fixed, but Gentle Hearts Gaming, now that they've qualified, it's their chance to fix those mistakes. It's their chance to go back over those VODs, even listen to the casters and go, what did they think was wrong? And do we think we had a better idea going into it? There's a lot they can fix. So I think GHG have a lot to work with, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do with it more than anything
Yeah.
else.
So something I do have to point out with Cross, I was saying Cross, great player, is a great player, no doubt about that. But if we look at the champ pool here, and yes, Rek'Sai is part of the meta, but Trundle and Volibear coming through. These are the only champions Cross has won on, and the loss is on the Karthus. So this does bring into question, does Cross play that AP meta right now? And it's kind of looking like the AP champions are not there for this jungler.
Yeah, I would believe that the Cartus game got a little bit out of hand. It got very, very messy very, very quickly, and it led to a slight
I mean, Cross had a good
problem with
start in that
the.
game. Cross still, I mean, look,
Yeah,
still had a good start, but just not able to carry the game on the Karthus.
no, I think there was a bit of miscommunication about where they wanted to be. It was the first time I had seen GHG look panicked, and it
Hmm.
did worry me. But that AP style does come with a lot more, I think, momentum based play. Like you need to remain high on tempo constantly. So
Yeah.
I think it came a little bit too fast for Cross, and things got out of hand. So I'm not going to hold that one against him just yet. I want to see more of that AP style. Maybe I want to see just once pull out something in the more kind of Elise pool for the AP. And not
Mm.
that Cartus. Just one time, I just want to see how that one works instead, because I think that one would suit his style just a little bit more.
It's pretty high risk. Let's flip over to Nightblood Gaming here as they are going to be matching up against GHG. And here we go. So we see a lot more spread. Lunar, despite the fact that me saying like get off of the virus, still showing a 5-0 KDA, doing a lot of damage, getting the kills there. Doxa, who I thought was pretty solid overall, tended not to die. I think the Corki and the Yasuo game, did you see this Yasuo game? It was such a nice combo for the Talia Yasuo. They just managed to put it together. I think it was against Gravity there. Beautiful display of jungle mid 2v2 synergy there. And of course, I was talking about Shocky here. Is just super solid as a weak side top laner. Even if you put him on the Aatrox, we'll get dove, but we'll find avenues to get kills despite being in a disadvantageous situation.
Yeah, this is a team that I ran through a couple of their bits and kind of zoomed through the footage, and they seem very, very solid and very fun to watch. From the way they kind of set up these fights, but we have to have a look at that kind of the ability to pull out a Celia and Yasuo is an incredible drafting style that not a lot of teams can have. It reminds me of like a 2019 G2 where they can just whip something up and it seems to work for them, while
Yeah.
another team they wouldn't have that kind of synergy. So this team could just be a big surprise factor team that will constantly catch you out with something.
Yeah, I think so. I think fortunately for both these teams, I think their bot lanes are pretty evenly matched. Do you agree with that, Sarah? Because I don't really find either bot lane finding an advantage over the other one.
I think it depends on Clyde. That's where I sit on this one. I think it depends on how Clyde feels. If Clyde is feeling saucy and ready, I think the difference maker is right there, and that could be it for me. From what I saw from Just Kim, they seem a little bit apprehensive on engages, but so comfortable in peeling. So that could
Mm,
work heavily in their favor as well. It just all comes down, I think, to Clyde. Clyde will be the difference maker, whether that lane wins or loses.
okay. I think that is a good point. Clyde can give you that miraculous win, or sometimes, died a lot on that Nami does give you a bit of a disadvantage in the bot lane there.
Mhm.
Transferring over the mid lane, I think this is an interesting matchup. I think, unfortunately for Doxa, that Zhao Danny has a bit more of that team fight carry potential that Doxa also likes to rely on. But Doxa is super solid and stable. And then when playing the Yasuo, was able to just completely stay even in lane despite being melee, use the early advantages for Fnatic to get some invades down, and nice follow up in the 2v2 synergy in that game there. So I think this is an interesting matchup. Unfortunately, I think Zhao Danny just gonna be able to carry a game a little bit better.
Yeah, I would give Xiaodani a very slight lead. Not having seen a lot of Doxa, but obviously really enjoying that champ pool already. The Aswo sprinkled in with the Talia, Trist, and Corki. I think it really does excite me that someone could pick up something like that and do so well on it. So excited to see how they do, but just off of seeing a little bit more of Xiaodani, I'm obviously going to give him the edge. So sorry for any biases coming through there, but I've seen a little bit more. I'm going to go with a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you've seen. You casted for them. You've
Mhm.
been on their side mentally. I'm not going to blame you here. Let's talk about this top side here. Any thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I honestly don't have enough to go off of. I kind of see the same champions coming through. The fact that I've seen Camille and Nar come out for Shocky gives me a little bit more hope that different styles can be played and there's a lot more combos that can be involved when you have the likes of a Nar and Camille. Other than that, I don't know. With all the praise coming from Slamboy on PCL, I've now kind of put my expectations of PCL just that much higher. So
Mhm.
I really, really want to see PCL shine over the next couple of games, and that's all I really want to say about this one. I don't want to say Shocky's good or bad until I get a real good look at that top lane.
Yeah, I think that is all right. Safe, fair point here. Before we start talking to the next team, I do want to point out Gentle Huts Gaming. I feel like they kind of squeaked their way in a little bit. It wasn't that comfy. They didn't end up beating a top team in the
Mhm.
end. And I mean, that's why they're coming in here on this bottom side of the bracket. And yeah, I think they kind of squeaked in. Nightblood Gaming have a little bit, they a little more comfort. They started with the 3-0, then they played the Goons in AMI. That's a lot tougher schedule than it is for General Hearts Gaming. So if we're just pretending, that you're the biased GHG boys for life, what do you
Mhm.
say to the strength of schedule that was displayed?
Yeah, I think they did have some matchups that would scream that they're a mid-level team. I'm going to be
Mm,
honest. But that doesn't mean that they can't rise to the occasion, and that's why I believe in Gentle Hearts Gaming so much, because I do love an underdog story. I think it's well known in Titan that I hate Dorado, because they always win. So like I don't like
okay.
winning teams, even though if you were back on cameras, you could see that I'm wearing a Fnatic jersey. I've been Fnatic since CS:GO, so before League. I've been Fnatic my whole life, which is a lot longer than most. Yeah, I show you. Look, you see the little Fnatic there, okay?
There
I
it
love
is.
Fnatic. I've been Fnatic
I thought you said
forever,
you
okay?
hated teams that always win.
Yeah, when's the last time Fnatic won anything?
Okay, but in the past, when
In
they
in the
had,
past, when I was already a fan for 5 years,
sure,
um,
okay, okay,
I only started watching leagues they won season one. You know,
okay.
but no, what I'm saying is that GHC they look like a middle level team, but they're an underdog, and I believe in them. I think every single time they got back into a game, so game one they won, they looked good, they looked comfortable. Game two and three they lost, and it
Mhm,
looked really shaky, and they needed the next two wins, but they just kind of rallied together. Cross went on a rampage. Last game they went up against the most insane cheese comp I have ever seen in my entire life, and they stuck to their guns and won that one out and made it look easy. So I really do believe that GHG have the opportunity to be that team, the dark horse that is just taking them off. We do have some people saying a lot of love for Shockey in the chat, saying work with him in fall ACL. He's incredible. He deserves respect. And to you in particular, Chatter, I have not seen enough of Shockey, so I don't know. So I don't want to good or bad mouth this character in the scene just yet. So I'm going to wait until I get to see him play, and then I'll give my due diligence to the
Come
player
on,
itself.
Sater.
I got to be safe. Like, I'm known
Let's
for
make some
flaming.
enemies. Let's make some
No, I have
enemies.
enough enemies. Me and Dorado are at each other's necks in chat
Yeah,
constantly.
Dorado
So
catching strays there. Zol, if they're in the chat, getting a nice face full
Zol
there.
wouldn't be here unless Dorado's playing, let's be honest.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I do have to say, GHG, they can win through that bot lane here. We've spent a lot of time on this team. Let's go to the other bracket matchup. Let's go ahead to yeah, we
Producer
can go
says
ahead to
predictions, Crims. That means we can do
let's go.
predictions.
Okay. Let's go back to predictions here, as we have the other side. I think no surprises here. I kind of agree with everything down the line. In fact, I might just say 2-0 all the way through.
All the way through. Lotus 2-0 for sure.
Castleberry might lose one. I'll say 2-1 Castleberry. Castleberry might lose one.
Yeah, Wangtown I think are a lot stronger than what Slayer and Quax think. So yeah, I think a little bit more love for Wangtown. I think they're a very very good team. There's some people giving out about the contingent slander, so you gotta wrap up your boys now, Crims. It's your turn.
Okay, look, here's the thing. I think out of all the non-top teams, Contingent Esports are the best. I think they look super drilled. They look like they're very disciplined. I like the way they play the game. They have a great 80 carry or Cyclone in that bot lane. But let me just say, as I was casting those games, Slayer, I saw some things that 80 carries should not be doing if they want to win the game. And so they ride or die on the War Cyclone. War Cyclone is a great player mechanically enough to carry these games. But I saw that there was a weakness that I think other teams can capitalize on.
Okay. So you think you have the inside track on this one is what I'm hearing.
I think they're the best non-top 10 team for sure. I think they're absolutely underrated. I think they got shafted in the seeding.
Okay, you think that they're better than BlackRock?
I think they would be. I think they could be BlackRock Gaming. I think they could be BlackRock Gaming for sure.
Okay.
They
BlackRock
almost
Gaming
beat
have a
Gravity.
very, very good standing, I think. So they're one of the teams I'd definitely be looking at for the future. But okay, yeah. And then the rest of the predictions going through. Wangtown I spoke about a little bit as they get to see a couple of their games. I think Slayer and Quax might have that one wrong. Castleberry is the graphic is slightly wrong because Apex should be one up there. But nonetheless, as we look across 2-1s all across the board into Ducky Getters. How do you feel about that one? Because I want to look at that one a little bit because I know that they're a seed above, etc. But Ducky Getters, they already beat them.
Ducky Getters.
Sorry, they lost against Castleberry.
Yeah, they did.
It's a revenge matchup.
It is. And I think Castleberry kind of were a step above in that game. Do I think that they could win the game? 100%. I think that is definitely a possibility. And I do want to talk about the bot lane of Castleberry as to why that is a possibility here. Dr. Calculus really solid in the top lane. And I think Rough Beans was really the standout in that game with the Hui switch to the bot side. I mean, that looked really strong. Unfortunately, that's not really the standard way they play or standard way to play a game. But yeah, it just, weren't able to get it in the end. And overall, I think the strength of players for Castleberry are going to pull them through. If we can go ahead and go over to the Castleberry squad here, I have some very interesting things to show you, Sater. Look at the champ pool by Pika Pika. Telling me that, I mean, one champion. That is it.
That just means they know what they want.
Well, unfortunately, it is full Fearless coming in through. So I think that Pika Pika might be in a bit of a bind.
Look, when it comes to Fearless, there's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you can throw game one and just play 5 ADCs.
True.
Like I've seen so many drafts go and they like ban 2 ADCs and then they pick 5. And they just leave the enemy ADC for the next 2 games with absolutely nothing. and they just break them down with old picks that people don't play anymore. And you lose game 1, but you win game 2 and 3. So
Yeah.
I think we're already seeing that Azog can play Ziggs, Jinx, Zeri, Kalista. There's a very good chance that they can take Tristana in mid, they can take a Jinx bot lane, take the Nautilus. Pika Pika can play it, that's no problem. But you can just take like Kindred into the jungle, and you can take like a Zeri top or something, or Kalista top, and just slowly eliminate the champ pool. But that's a fearless thing. We're not going to talk about that too much. But yeah, just the Nautilus is a little bit worrying. The rest of the team really showing up with a lot of different picks. Even the Nidalee coming through for Castle in one of their games.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to see them overall. They look very good as a squad. Very, very good KDAs across the board. But AHJ seems to be the big one here. Also, Giga and Castle, they're both siege characters, right?
Oh yeah, Geiger and Castle are siege characters. You are correct. Wait a minute. They R6 Siege coming through here. Castle, namesake, as well as one of the OG R6 characters played there. Something I have to tell you about this bot lane, Sater. They are absolute animals. They're just completely deranged bot laners. Extremely over aggressive. And this is why I say Castleberry can lose a game. These two in the bot lane, Azog and Pika Pika, can win you bot lane or completely throw the game. And, that specific game versus Enthralled and Hiccup. Yeah, they were like level 2 diving. They were level 2 past the turret. Enthralled was super behind, completely out of the game. But they just stuck around too long and they made some misplays down there, kind of reopened up the game again. But I like the energy from Castleberry. I think it's amazing to have aggressive players like this, but someone's got to be the one to say, hey, this is way too far on this team.
Yeah, I think bot lane, you're pointing that out, fills me with doubt. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just looking at the champ pool for the jungler, and I'm just very excited to see that they're picking correctly according to meta, and also able to pick out something like a Lee Sin. That's still exciting me. I'm not gonna lie. Also seeing the Rumble, the NAJs, Cassante, Renekton, Zac, a lot coming out from the Geiger as well up on the top side. I think these look like a good squad, and I haven't seen enough of them, so I'm not going to break them down too much. I haven't seen that many games, but just looking from champ pools and the little bit of information you're giving me, they look like a very strong team. It's just I don't really like these predictions coming true with everyone kind of going the same way. It then looks a little bit stompy, and if they all get it wrong, that looks messy for everyone that predicted.
I mean, look, if they have 2 bad games in a row from bot lane, just a little bit over aggression, jungler comes by, that could be it for Castleberry here. I do like Geiger. I think Geiger's pretty solid. Geiger going to be going up against one of the new players on the block, Dr. Calculus here, flipping over to Duck as they have one of the funnier names here. Dr. Calculus. We saw in the RTR Combine, looks really solid in the games that they win. Looks like a great carry player and new to the scene here. I think that for Duck, this is an interesting squad to be pulling out.
Yes, you said some new players are coming in here. Now, this is the one team I have absolutely no idea about. I have seen nothing. I haven't even heard of any of these players. So
Yeah, I
this
only
is
found
all
one
off
game on
you.
stream. One game on stream. One game on stream. So not much to go off of. I tried to find it, but of course, I think everyone's going to know Enthralled and Hiccup. They've been playing NACL. They're solid. The Castleberry game, Enthralled was super behind. Got chunk level 1 into full denial. So that is, because they're playing in, that is a possibility. The thing is, they are going to know about that now, so they could switch it up, like playing the Lucian, and they have primarily Enchanter support on Hiccup. Didn't see anything else besides that. That's not really the meta right now, right, Sater? It's all about these engaged champions, and so Duck Getters might be playing, they might be fighting the meta as well as fighting Castleberry.
Yeah, I do believe that there is a lot of people that are playing that engage bot lane, as you said before, but that doesn't mean you can't play against it in certain ways. Like, there is nothing wrong with seeing them pick a Nautilus, seeing them pick a Blitzcrank, seeing them pick a Leona and going, well, let's just play Lulu Vayne and make sure they can't play into us. Let's play Ezreal Karma, poke them out. We'll play Lucian Milio, Seraphine Ash, and we'll just play engage weak side. I don't mind that style coming out from a team as long as they can keep it solid in the bot lane and don't overplay. That's a big thing I do talk about when I do cast sometimes is people overplaying or being egregious with their plays is the term I usually use.
Hmm.
Don't try to force things when you're not designed to. You're not designed to do that kind of play with an enchanter bot lane. You are meant to sit back and invite pressure and then capitalize on a single mistake. So with the way that they've been playing with the likes of Rengar, Graves, Kindred, those three picks, they're playing more towards that top side. That's where your easy
Yeah.
kills are. When you have a Skarn or a Camille and a Cassante, you can leverage your top lane as a jungler to get yourself ahead. Same with the mid lane. They're playing Hui, Twisted Fate, Silas, Galio. They're designed to help the top side and win through top and mid. That bot lane is designed to be inviting pressure constantly, looking to kind of absorb dives and trade off of them. So just from what I'm seeing on this, they seem like a team that knows how to play that weak side bot. And against a team that has a crazy bot lane, this might be the way to do it.
Yeah, I think that is a good case. And I mean, if they're trying to slam bot side and you got the Seraphine, try and just scale through the bot side, play through Dr. Cactus up on the top side. I mean, they're throwing in picks like Gallia with the Camille. I think this is a solid strategy with the players that you have here. And so with that, we're kind of just rounding out our Titan marquee matchups here. Let's go ahead and just get a go over at the overall brackets here. We have the group A, so we are doing the group B and D bracket here, but here's group A, Pulse Star versus Next Level Esports. Not really the focus of this show right now because we're not covering these games here, but I think that for this one, the more interesting matchup is Gravity versus BlackRock Esports. I think we all think Pulsar 2-0. Seder, Pulsar 2-0?
Yeah, it should be. We don't want to glaze them at all. Just yeah, they should be able to win that one easily enough. There shouldn't be any madness there. On the other side, Gravity and BlackRock. I have a lot of hope for BlackRock. I think they're a very, very good squad. Gravity are very, very heavy on the underdogs in this one. I'd be surprised to see them take even one game, but I have a hope that they can find a way around the draft and maybe make something work for themselves.
Yeah, I think that for the side blocker esports, I think Inori and Inori B are pretty strong players here, and Zev's going to be able to match in that bot side. But I think overall, I think Blackheart Esports just better matchup spread. Dragoons Goons versus Peepo, Peepo. As I feel for Peepo in this one. Goons straight 2-0. Couldn't be more depressing to go up against the Goons in the first match.
Yeah, not the team I'd want to go against at all, but I am down for a 2-1. I think Pipo, they're one of the teams I got to watch, and they're very fun to watch. They're
Mm-hmm.
incredibly aggressive. I want to give them the 2-1 just because I think if Dragoon Goons slip up once and give them too much tempo, they will just run them down. So I'm going to go
Okay.
2-1 to Dragoons Goons for that one. On the other side, I'm going for a 2-1 to Gentle Hearts Gaming in a reverse sweep.
Ooh, reverse sweep. Interesting. Okay, so for the Goons, yeah, I think Daption is too good. Sorry. As this bottom matchup, we finally get our predictions in. Seder, unsurprisingly, going to be going 2-1 here for Gentle Hearts Gaming. I'm going to join you in that one, Seder. I'm going to join you. And
Okay.
the reason why I'm joining you is that I think that the bot lane for Nightblood Gaming is exploitable, especially in the 2v2 individual lanings. I've seen them lose many times. I think Gentle Hearts Gaming can capitalize on that with a jungler coming down there. If Cross is doing exactly what I'm thinking they're going to do, I think Cross is the difference maker for this game. 2-1. So I think we're bucking the trend here. 2-1 Gentle Hearts Gaming.
Yeah, I always think the Gentle Hearts have something there, but Lotus and Gromcourt. Gromcourt is a fantastic little organization, but Lotus are absolutely a different beast. They are just too good at this at these early stages. So it has to be a 2-0 there, right?
Yeah, I think this is a 2-0. Lotus are so good. I have to say their macro is amazing. Just gonna blow everyone out of the water. AMI versus Contingent Esports. I know you didn't see all Contingent's games here, but again, I mean, look, definitely winnable for Contingent Esports. Do I think War Cyclone can bring them to 2 victories? Yes. How likely is it? As much as Hooked is going to be feeling betrayed by me here, saying that this is potentially a 2-1 for AMI. You know what? I think contingent. I like the way they play so much. I'm gonna go actually contingent here. Gonna go for the next upset call. Just because I like the way they play. But dude, War Cyclone, please do not let me down for this. Okay, please do
I
not
have
get
to go
caught out and
opposite to
die.
you for this one. You know that, right? Because I have to
Go
go
for
with
it.
just I didn't watch all of the games for both sides. I only saw bits and pieces of these, so I have to go 2-1 AMI. So I do apologize to Contingent Esports. Maybe I'll change my tune once I get to watch a couple more games, but for now I am going AMI. But into our Group D bracket, Castleberry and Ducky Getters, and this is where I know we're going to go opposites.
Okay, you're not going to win Castleberry.
I am not. I'm going 2-0 Ducky.
2-0.
Yeah.
Okay, 2-0 Ducky. I scared you about that bot lane, but you know, to be honest, it is justified. And I do think Enthralled and Hiccup are a good bot lane. They did get caught unawares in that game, but I mean, look, Azlog and Peak are just animals. So like this is like a coin flip for me, right? Like anything could happen in this matchup.
Yeah, 100%. Anything can happen. And the way that both teams have been presented to me and the lack of information I have about Ducky, I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And from what I saw just from our lovely stat sheets, I do believe that if they're going to play Enchanter into that engage and weak side, that lane that you know is over aggressive, I honestly believe they can absorb that. And I just think they have a much better logo.
Also, they're going to be able to ban Nautilus. Yeah, the logo difference. I like the logo. I don't understand why it's Ducky Getters and they have a knife, but okay. Ducky
Yeah, that's
Murderers,
perfectly fine.
Ducky
You don't need to
Killers.
know why. You got to be part of the clique. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Ducky Getters rep.
Last match here, Wongtown versus Nigel's Last Tiles. Nigel's Last Tiles have been kind of the new like top org on the block, but they're going up against the tried and true Wongtown, Debonair, Boil the Oil, Rapid. Such, I mean, they're just a classic. They've been playing together for so long, and they've been a high qualifying team for such a long time. Sorry, Nigel's Last Tiles, Wongtown 2-0.
2-0. I actually put down 2-1 originally. I don't know enough about NLT, but I think Wangtown is going to turn them into a BLT, to be honest.
All right, and I think that's gonna be it for these individual group matchups there. I think that we've been talking for almost an hour now. And Sater, do you have any closing remarks? Because yeah, I did introduce you to some new teams. We got to talk about some players here and there, but anyone that you thought stood out to you in the OQ?
One of the teams that did stand out to me more than anything else was actually Pepe Po. They just brought this whole new style that I hadn't seen work for a lot of teams, but they seem to just thrive off of vibes. And I really enjoyed the way they managed to play. GHG surprised me. I've casted them before and I have a lot of love for the team, but the way they bounced back from those harsh losses just really, well, actually, one loss was very unfortunate, the Trundle backdoor, but the way they bounced back from something like that really, really filled me with hope for that squad. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. Nightblood Gaming, from the little bits that I did see, look very, very competitive, but they seem to falter in some of the major aspects of a game. Overall, around some of those objectives, they look a little bit shaky. Dragoons Goons, monstrous team, monstrous.
Okay, well,
I
you're
don't,
kind
I
of you're
don't.
kind of you're kind of peeling into our final topic before we go. It is going to be now. I think you're going to disagree with me on this one, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I'm going to say the top 4 teams of the tournament for me here. This is where we're going to get a little bit of hot takes. As we're going to get that for production to pull it up real quick. But the top 4 teams for me are going to be Pulse, Dragoons Goons, Lotus, and you're definitely going to disagree with me on this one, Castleberry.
No, not a chance. They're not there. They're not there. Like I know that they're good. Lotus 100% I can agree with. Dragoons Goons I can agree with, and Pulse I can agree with. I honestly don't get why we don't see like I have a top 4 in my head when I'm looking at it. And I kind of have like what's the correct word here? Like sneaky teams that could get in there. I really do.
Dark
So,
Horse, Dark Horse, Dark
yeah,
Horse.
not even a dark horse because my dark horse to get into this is actually BlackRock Esports.
Okay.
I think they're my dark horse that they could make it, but I wouldn't put them in my top four, as in like they're the best four teams in it. I think it's honestly Wangtown probably is one of the elite four teams here.
Oh, okay. So that is not a bad pick. I think Longtown's a good idea. For sure, we definitely agree on Pulse, Goons, and Lotus. I mean, their macro is so much better than everyone else. Like, I feel like any team goes against like even if you have better players, they're just gonna out macro you. The times I've seen them just take over the map, either one of these top teams, is too high. Also, Daption. I don't. You need to watch this clip. Daption gets 3-man dove as Ornn for bot lane because Array goes up to the top side and kills them all 3v1, getting turret dove. Absolute monster support player. Looks like an Ornn player, born natural from the top lane. So I think Goons is gonna be my number one. Pulse is a strong contender with Lotus here. I think that they're probably gonna be a number two for me. I really like Ariandel and Prismal. And okay, so for Castleberry versus Wongtown, so they're not gonna play each other, I believe, in the Group D. So we unfortunately we're gonna have to wait for groups to play out to even see if this is gonna happen. But I think that oh no, they can play. They're gonna play. They're probably gonna play next week. So we get to see Seder who's correct. We get to see if Castleberry versus Wongtown next week, if our predictions are correct, or that I predict correctly, that Castleberry wins, and Wongtown wins. They're gonna play. We're gonna see who is the true number 4.
Yeah, we're going to see who the new true number four is. The one thing I have to say is that Wangtown recently did get between, I think it was like top 6 in the summer qualifier one. So like they're already a strong team, right?
Yeah,
So
of
they
course.
qualified pretty strongly into this one. So I do rate them a little bit higher than this. I'm going to ask you a question though now. So if you were to play on any of the underdog teams, which one are you picking?
Oh, if like, well, am I playing my role or am I just imaginarily somewhere on the team?
You have to step into the mid lane and command the team and bring them over
I
the
have to
line.
play mid
So
lane.
yeah,
Oh, dude, we're done. It
we're
doesn't
toast.
matter. It doesn't matter which one we're playing. Um, who would I rather play?
So you have BlackRock, Contingent, Ducky, Gentle Hearts, Gravity, Gromcord, Next Level, Nigel's Last Tiles, Nightblood Gaming, and Pepe Po. Which of those teams do you think, in your heart of hearts, you could jump into their roster and not even help them, but you could get into that kind of last breath moment, get into those finals, get into those playoffs, get into that moment you want to be at, where you said, I nearly made it? Which team do you think can make it?
Oh, who actually makes it out of the group? Oh boy. Yeah. Mm, I think taking GHG route. Oh, that's tough. Yeah. Because I would like to play. I would like to think that if I was playing with Cross would carry me in the middle lane.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
to think that. I would like to think that that would be a possibility. Out of all the
Warspite could carry
junglers,
you.
oh yeah, I think so.
Diesel,
I think.
Inori.
Ooh, yeah, I think. So there's certain roles where I feel like I have to like provide a lot to the matchup. And Cross does so much aggressive plays that I just have to be like, what's his name from the Europe? He used to be Niski. I have to be like Niski. I feel
Mhm.
like if I have Cross, I'm like Niski, and I just show up wherever Cross goes, and I just support the play, and I feel like it works out. So I'm gonna go with GHG.
You're going to go with GHG. Okay, I'm going BlackRock for the Inori. I think Inori has something there. He's proved it before. He's been on some top teams. Hasn't always
Yeah.
showed up the best, but there is always that possibility that that beast comes back out. BlackRock Esports are my biggest dark horse in this one. I think there's something there. On the other side, Gentle Hearts Gaming, of course. I'm not stepping into the mid lane though. I'm not taking Shout
Yeah,
Alley
I
out
feel like
of
mid
that
lane's the
lane.
worst one. You
It's not
picked the
happening.
wrong role.
I'll play support. That's my original main role. Like I'll jump in for Clyde anytime, like 100%.
Oh,
I
okay. You think you
absolutely
could play?
love Clyde because he plays champions better than I do. I can out enchanter him though. I can tell him that much. He can out tank me. I can out enchanter him. But a lot of love for
I
Clyde.
I would support for Noriboob for sure though, if we're gonna go the support route. All right. I think that we're going to close it out on here. We've been talking for about an hour. Thank you for everyone who's been watching. And thank you to our special guest, Slam Boy, as we're going to go ahead and get those dates for you on the screen. If you don't know now, it is Saturday. That is 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. Gentle Hearts Gaming versus Nightblood Gaming. And then Sunday, Titan will be casting Ducky Getters versus Castleberry. And that's where I think Sater definitely wants to be on that one. And
The
we
Duckies.
will see who is going to win. That's our hotly debated matchup here. I think we have some interesting takes for these games. We're not following the crowd. See you guys Saturday and Sunday for NACLQ week number 3.
All my life, by my side. All my life, all my one time from side to side. Without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Peekaboo, I see you, peekaboo, I see you. Looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside.